given my antenna is sort of tuned to the possibilities, but what I'm seeing is um, where if a company accidentally somehow a competent, capable, straight white male gets through um, into the business at a reasonably senior managerial level, not the absolute apex of the executive suite. So we're not talking the CEO or the executive vice president necessarily, but sort of junior vice president, divisional general manager, that sort of level. Now, increasingly, those jobs are being filled by affirmative action appointees. So um, it's fairly rare that you come across anyone that's capable and competent now. Um, in fact, it's got to the point where it's embarrassing, where affirmative action people are stuffed into just about every conceivable role that you come across. And it's embarrassing because these people are so out of their depth. And many of them have got this massive chip on their shoulder. They're so insecure. They've been wildly over promoted, way beyond it. But none of them, you rarely come across any of them that are saying, okay, I've got a great opportunity. I've been promoted several levels above my level of competence, but I'm going to bust my ass. I'm really going to try hard to make this work and become a competent person. Maybe it's because they look around and say, well, no one else is competent. Why should I bust my ass? It's a bit like if you're in a group of thieves and criminals or something, why be honest, or why not steal and rob and everything when that's how the sort of things go. You might as well fit in with the people around you, and that seems to be the issue here, the fitting in thing. So just I suppose in middle of November or thereabouts, we got stuck in one project, and we went to, like, the general manager sort of dude, who was a straight white guy, in probably mid-50s, I guess, around that age. Very experienced, knew his stuff, understood very quickly what it was we were talking about, understood the problem, and then acted quickly to solve the problem. I, for one, was very impressed with him, as indeed were my colleagues. They've done well there. They've got a really sharp guy, and he knows what he's doing. He's on the ball. He understands the issues, getting the job done. They've done well. And I was a little bit surprised because I was sort of sufficiently aware of how the diversity and inclusion sort of Nazis were taking over the place. So I was a little surprised this guy actually made it through. Um, it's such a rarity now that when you see somebody that capable, you sort of go, oh, gee, how the fuck did they hire him? Because they seem to be so determined to hire people that are completely unqualified. Again, along the ideological lines of everybody's the same, all we have to do is give them a checklist, as long as they fit in with the values of the company, which are climate change, all straight white men are fascist Nazis, Trump is Hitler, and as long as they fit in with all that, then they're good. They're the sort of people we want. They espouse the values that we hold strongly. So we give them a tick box checklist to do their job. That's it. That's it. All done. Everything put to bed. So given that attitude, it's rare to find people hired who are competent. I mean, the guy must have, when he's at an interview, he must have sat there and just dribbled and drooled and gone, maybe he did that, and they think, shit, he's for us, and they only realised later or something. I don't know, but look, he was pretty good, but yesterday, when we and this is like just the first sort of days from coming back from the Christmas New Year break, was something we wanted to deal with, and so I asked for him, and thinking, well, is he back from vacation yet? Maybe he's still on vacation. No, he's gone, the CEO says. Oh, okay, well, gee whiz. You can't have been there for longer than, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. But the CEO was, I said, oh, wow, that's a pity. The guy was really good. And I could see from the look in the face that he didn't agree, or saw it differently or looked at it from the different end of the telescope, whatever you want to call it. But he took the his sort of, it was a, as I'm often getting, and this is part of the pat and shoulder shrug. Oh well, kind of didn't really fit our culture, and so on. Now I just want to sort of go on this because there are others that fall into this exact same category. And quick chat I had with the CEO, who I quite like, by the way, we get on okay. Was the same conversation. It's almost like having the same conversation with the same people about the same issues. There's almost a Groundhog Day type aura about this, where the same thing just repeats itself, although it's all with different people and so on. So, oh wow, you had to go. Well, did he find something about it? No, we asked him to move on. Oh, okay, all right then. Well, and I'm little sort of. I guess I wasn't perplexed. I kind of knew where this conversation was going to go, even at this early part of it. And and you sort of go through a thing. Well, was he? Did he refuse to accept direction? Did he not accept instruction? No. He was good. No, he was fine. Was he doing a lousy job? No. He was doing a good job. He knew his stuff. He was well qualified, well experienced. He understood the business and understood the products and the technology. No, it's fine. Well, he sort of try to sexually harass his female work colleague? No, he's very well behaved. No. Or did he come in late and drunk, staggering around, vomiting on it? No, he was well presented, very disciplined. Did he violently attack a subordinate? No, he was quite good in that respect. Seemed to command the respect of his support. Oh well, he sounds sort of like, if not the perfect employee, he sounds like certainly a desirable employee, not somebody you'd want to get rid of at the very least. Yeah, well, he just, the diversity director, the lesbian diversity director, just said that she'd had some feedback that he wasn't, he's. He might be. I mean, I'm paraphrasing this bit, but if the attitude was, well, we're concerned that he might have voted for Donald Trump. I mean, he wouldn't have. It's in Australia, and he's not an American citizen. So, I mean, but he just, well, we think that he just might have the wrong attitude. We couldn't prove it, and we don't know, and he didn't do anything overtly that could say it, but the black lesbians in the company and the diversity director and the lesbian HR director, wow, they just express some concerns that some of the affirmative action hires that we have may not be quite happy with somebody that capable and that competent, in the company. They're already, we've got a transgender person here and they've already said that they might commit suicide, and we don't want this person here making them feel inadequate in some way and that they may harm themselves. We can't have that. We're an inclusive workplace here. We are an inclusive workplace and we care about our employees. We can't have somebody here who may be encouraging a very mentally unstable transgender person to harm themselves. We just can't have that. We care about our people. So, we just thought it's better if Billy Bob moved on, that, and it was that sort of conversation, and you're staring at them almost open mouthed. I mean, I'm not now because it's not the first time, but I just want to sort of say this is the fifth, if I've got my arithmetic correct here, this is the fifth time in less than a year. In fact, it's probably 8 months, where I've come across this same thing, where somebody who's doing a good job, no one disputes it, has an unblemished record, or they're doing what they're told, and they're well dressed, and they've got the shiny shoes, and turn up sober, and all this sort of stuff. They're again, in classic times and classic terms, they'd be the model employee, but in these times that we live in, they're now, possible Hitler surrogates, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane what's happening. Now, the guy who fired him was a straight white guy. He's just on board with all this wokeness. And again, the company has a decent proportion of its business that comes from government contracts. And, they have the sort of, particularly the junior employees around HR and all those things. They're all the class, they're all the placard waving climate change activist type girls. And there's a lot of affirmative action people, black, brown people and all sorts of things being given jobs they shouldn't have at all. Now, most people in Australia, I assume it's the same in other countries, they've got what's like a probationary period of employment that goes on for, can vary, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. But so legally they don't have to have a reason to say to the guy, hey, buddy, there's the door, how'd you go? And they don't need a reason. Whereas if say after some years of employment, they did it, particularly with an older guy, they'd need to have some sort of a reason, or would have to throw him a bunch of cash to get rid of him. So in this case, so I'm seeing this again and again. But the thing that's sticking in my craw, when I say sticking in my craw, concerning me for the future of the Western civilization, and concerning me for the future of the Australian economy, and indeed Western economies generally, is competent people generate wealth. And they limit wastage, and that creates more jobs, more wealth, more tax revenue, more innovation, more invention. It's positive in every imaginable sense, but it does mean there are winners and losers, because competent people tend to hire other competent people, and that's not how things are structured now. In an affirmative action quota, race, gender, sexuality quota system, merit and competence and capability have no place. They're just they can't coexist with the with these quotas and affirmative action. They can't. You can't have an equity agenda, the equal outcomes, and have competence and merit at the same. They just don't work together. So really, these people, the equity agenda, whether by stealth, by enforcement, by government fiat, by whatever you want to call it, is now omnipresent in not simply the public service, but most, maybe not all, but most businesses. And that in turn has created this culture of incompetence is desirable. Incompetence equals equity. People who fuck up all the time are part of the equity agenda. People that can't do their job to save their lives are representing the inclusive culture, and so on. It's that perverse. And I'm seeing it quite often. I think that guy would have been much smarter if he'd just pretended to be dumb, just gone along with it. I mean, if he just ticked the boxes on his checklist, filled out his forms, filled out his reports, he'd be there today, and they'd be saying what a great guy he was. If he would send everybody internal emails saying, how wonderful the climate change agenda is, and how courageous all those placard waving lesbians are, protesting for climate change, how wonderful they are. And if he'd done that, he'd still be there now, I believe. Not that he'd said anything to the contrary or anything against that. They just didn't get the vibe. He was the climate change guy. That was all it was. They just didn't get the right vibe. He didn't do anything to say, you're all a bunch of, woke morons or something. That it wasn't that. So anyway, this guy's got. But this is again something that's happening pretty much everywhere that I go. Now, my colleagues, I keep my opinions and views to myself. So my colleagues don't necessarily look at things the same way. Why should they care if somebody comes and goes and this, that? Now, this guy was, in as much as he'd solved a problem for us, and that's probably why he's higher up on my radar than might otherwise be the case. But I'm seeing, yet, 8 months ago, I've seen the most incompetent, blithering idiots, drooling, blithering idiots that have been put into the same sort of role as that guy was, or even vice president. So they're still there. Fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. They're useless. They're incompetent. They couldn't run a bath, and yet they're still there. This guy barely lasted 2 months, and they threw him overboard for no reason. I'd rather the CEO had said, "Yeah, well, actually, he grabbed little Susie's ass in marketing," or something like that. A clear violation of the company's policies and that. But no, we just thought he'd better move on. We weren't sure, but we thought maybe maybe he liked Donald Trump, and we just can't have that. Yeah, that's how bad it is now. And we've really got to push back against this fucking madness. You've been with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.